Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Bree. Today we're going to be talking summer book recommendations. I feel like I just did spring book recommendations and it's already summer. Now I know I did them late, but it's crazy how fast time is going. And I've picked up a little stack of books to talk to you about. I've just really gone off vibe is really the reasoning. Summer is like time for travel, for fun, for beach reads, stuff like that. So it's just something you want to take that's light and fluffy, or you could, get an audiobook while you're out at the pool or something like that. So I have some recommendations to give you, and I'm excited to share. If you want to subscribe, I'd really appreciate it, or like this video, that also really helps me. And yeah, let's get into the video. So the first kind of category I have two books, and that's cozy mysteries. And the first one I have is Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers by Jessie Q. Sutanto. You're probably going to see this book quite a few times throughout this month because I still have to post my wrap up, or maybe I've posted my wrap up already. And I love this book. Spoiler. So this is about Vera Wong, and she owns a tea shop in San Francisco's Chinatown, and she has her son who doesn't really come home very often or help her out, and her husband has passed away. So she's all alone and she runs this tea shop all the time. And then one day she comes down, she finds a dead body, and she decides that she's going to investigate. And Vera is just very much a character who, she gives people unsolicited advice. She just tells them how she feels and can be like a bit abrasive almost at first, but then she really grows on you the more you get to know her, and she just is very caring and loving. It's got a found family element because she starts to talk to the people who were involved with Marshall and try to investigate what happened to him and why he died, but then she's getting to know these people who were in his life. And it's fun, it's funny, it's not over the top like Finley Donovan or Dialogue for Aunties are, but it's got this like fun, funny, wholesome vibe to it. And if you're looking for just a cozy, fun, lighthearted type mystery, though there is a part in here that made me cry, so it's not wholly lighthearted, but for the most part it is, and it's just like laugh out loud kind of funny, cozy mystery, I would try this one out for summer. And I think it's an easy one to read really quickly, especially if you were taking on a trip. Now this one is a cozy mystery as well, and I would recommend reading it after you've gone on your plane ride because it involves a plane crash. So it's called Reservations by Sherry Priest, and at the beginning of this book, she is a booking agent and she's talking to her client on the phone, and she basically had changed his flight plans and he's upset about it, and he doesn't understand why she did it, and she can only tell him she has a bad feeling. And he also got stuck in traffic, so he was going to miss it anyway. When he gets there, he sees the plane explode. Something went wrong with the plane and it caught fire, essentially. Then later he comes and visits her, and he wants to work with her because he's actually a cop and he has an unsolved mystery, and he just knows that she has some kind of ability because she knew this plane was going to crash. And she has like feelings, essentially, that she calls them, and she's never really practiced them, but she starts to practice this throughout the book. And so it's got this psychic element to it as well, which is usually a win for me if I can have some kind of paranormal or fantasy or something a little magical in my story. I really enjoy it. So this is a fun murder mystery. It's not quite as like funny as Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers, but it's just got this quirky cast of characters. It really does the cozy vibe well, I think. And if you like karaoke and like bars and stuff like that as like the scene where it takes place, because in cozy mysteries there's always like their community that they spend time in, and in this it's a lot in this bar, and they do karaoke and stuff like that where she touches objects and she picks a song based on it for people, and it's just fun and I really enjoyed it. There is heavier things in here, but it still has that cozy vibe, and I recommend it. Though, like I said, maybe not when you're about to go on a plane. Maybe save it for like after the plane. It's also one that has only 2 out, so if you're looking to start a cozy mystery series but you don't want a long one, you kind of want to read with the series, that would be a good one to try. So then I have a graphic novel that I read recently and absolutely adored, and that's Bug Boys by Laura Kensner. It's about these little bug boys and they just go on little bug adventures. It's like short stories of bug adventures, and I just love the little graphics, and it's just so wholesome, and it's literally about like their friendship and being kids kind of, and having these larger than life experiences, and it's just like so wholesome, so cute. I can't recommend it enough. It made me smile. It just like was something that if you just need something that's good for your soul and it's gonna make you just like smile and feel good while reading, I would check this out. I also feel like graphic novels are a really good time during summer. There's just something about them to take them on like a picnic or something that I think is really nice. And the art style too just reminds me of summer. Like, does that not remind you of summer? So then I have a recent favorite that I really enjoyed and I think is perfect for summer if you like sci-fi or you want to get into sci-fi. So that's All Systems Red by Martha Wells. It's called the Murderbot Diaries, and you're following Murderbot, who essentially has to protect humans. They're an AI, and their job is to protect humans on these like crafts, and all they really want to do is shut down and read their and watch their soaps, but no one knows that they're doing that, and so they're trying to keep that quiet. Some stuff starts going down, humans start dying, and they have to protect the humans, and they're kind of just like not wanting to do it just because they want to be doing something else. And it's a series of novellas, and they're all really quick, and just Murderbot is such a fun character to follow. And again, if you're looking for something quick to take on a trip or you can listen to or something, outside this is just a fun, easy one. It's just lighthearted and action-packed, which I think is perfect for summer. So then I guess I would qualify this as like sci-fi, though in my head fantasy, but it's like a time travel story. So this is Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi, and this is a part of a series. So it's actually a series that are short stories, and all the short stories are connected. So in this one there's 4 short stories, and in this you can go back in time if you want at this cafe. But there's some rules, and one of them is that you have to get back before the coffee gets cold. And it's just stories of people going back in time and trying to come to terms with things that they're dealing with. It's an emotional read, but it's easy to pick up, put down. Short stories I think are great for summer when you're busy too and you just want something to pick up for, 20 minutes, put down and keep going. And I think there's something about time travel for me that just screams summer, but also it's just a really good read that is emotional but not over the top. The writing itself isn't overly emotional, but it's still conveyed through like the actions of the story, and I really enjoyed it, and I think that it would be a perfect one to pick up if you're looking for some short stories for summer. The last one is The Monsters We Defy by Leslie Penelope. This is a recent read as well, and it's a historical mystery fantasy, and it's set in DC, but I don't think it actually tells you the time period. Wow, I never realized it didn't tell you the time period. Anyway, and this is like a heist type fantasy. So we have our main character Clara, and she basically made a deal with a spirit a long time ago, and now she has to work with people who want to work with the spirits. And the way these spirits work is that if you want someone to fall in love with you, you'll get that, but there'll be a consequence for that. So it could be that they idolize you, so you never become like a real person to them. So there's always like 2 sides to this deal that you make with the spirits. So part of her deal is that she has to help other people make deals with spirits. And at the beginning of this book, the spirit comes to her and says that she's going to give her a chance to break her, I want to say oath, but that's not the right word, break her bond with the spirit if she has to get this ring back from this really powerful person, because all she knows is that other spirits are trying to get it, and it's going to be really bad if they get it. So she has to try to get it from this person. So she has to form a group to do this ultimate heist. It was a fun historical heist type book, which I always find heist books really good in the summertime because there's just something about the adventure of that screams summer to me. I'm always in the mood for like adventure type books during the summer. So that's also why I recommend it. But I also just thought this was a good, like, quirky cast of characters. Everyone's kind of different. There's some found family. I think it's a really good one. If you're looking for a historical fantasy with a whole black cast of characters, I think that this one is a good one to try. And I initially picked it up because someone had recommended it and said it was like the cozy game Spiritfarer. And if you like that you should read this. And it did give me Spiritfarer vibes. Not quite as cozy as Spiritfarer, but I love both of them, so I'm really happy with that recommendation. So if you want a book to go with a video game, maybe try those too. I'll try to remember who it was. I don't know if I'll be able to find the video again, but if I do, I'll try to link it down below. So if you want to watch that video of theirs, that you can get some video game recommendations or book recommendations from. So then I have another favorite of the year so far, and that is Black Cake by Charmaine Wilkerson. This was on a lot of people's favorite books of the year last year, and I hadn't really heard of it because I'm not a big literary fiction reader. And then I've really, since seeing everyone's videos come out, I've been getting more into literary fiction and trying to explore that genre and see what I can love in it. And this was something I saw on a lot of people's lists, and truly for good reason. It was so good. So this is following two characters, Brian and Benny, and their mom has just passed away. Their father has passed away a long time ago, and their mom finally passed away, and they've been estranged from each other because there's an event that happened during Thanksgiving one year where Benny left and she hasn't come back since. Then they come back together, and their mom has created this like audio for them to listen to, and it's just kind of having to go through and tell events from the past to them, and a lot of family history is kind of unraveled in this. And she also has a black cake that she made that is a family tradition passed down from her time in Jamaica. This is a really popular cake to make, especially for weddings and like big events. And so she has one in the fridge, and she has said at the beginning that she wants them to share it when the time is right. You're jumping around from a couple different timelines. You're getting their timelines before their mom has passed and present day of just how they're feeling and why their family has been estranged. And then also you're getting the story that the mom is telling. And it was so good. And the chapters are kind of shorter. So like there'll be chapters where it's just like literally just like half a page. So it's a really easy to pick up, put down if you just want something kind of like faster to read. I wouldn't say this is like the fastest book ever, but in terms of being able to like pick it up and put it down really easily, it does make that very easy, and it makes it easier to get through, if that makes sense. It's just a lot about family and losing your identity and figuring out your identity and just all this stuff. And it was so good. I read this over the course of a month because, like I said, I picked it up and put it down. I was just with these characters for so long that I got to really see all sides of the family, and I feel like that was like the best way for me to read it. So if you have time and you feel like doing a slower read, I think that this would be a good option as well, though you can read it fast, like I said, with the short chapter. It's also taking place somewhat in Jamaica as well, and there's a lot of like the sea throughout this, and so because Jamaica is an island country, there's a lot to do with swimming and the ocean and things like that. And then there's a time when they're in the UK, which has water as well, and then there's a time where they're in where they're in California, and all that has to do with water. And so there's this big theme of water throughout the whole thing and swimming, and that just gives me all the summer feels. And as a swimmer myself, I just loved seeing that. I say swimmer myself. I no longer swim a lot, but as someone who swam a lot when I was younger, I loved reading about that and seeing that passion again. So yeah, I would highly recommend this book. It blew me away, really. Okay, my last two recommendations are also literary fiction. And the first one is Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata. And this is just a short novella, and it's really about this woman who works at a convenience store, and she is content with her life the way it is. The convenience store gives her a lot of routine and just makes her feel good and content with her life. It's just a quick look into society's expectations of you and kind of charting your own path and deciding what's best for you. And I really, really enjoyed it. It just hit me really in the feels and it made me feel seen in a lot of ways. And it's a quick book to take on a trip, like I've said many times so far in this video, but also just if you like, I think a slice of life story almost is really good for summer. It's just like a quick look into someone's life, and that feeling is something that I always look for in summer, especially traveling. If you can't travel, like this gives you like the travel book, because it is a Japanese translated book. So it can, if you're not in Japan, you can read this and kind of feel like you're in another country. And I think that that is really great for summer. And this one is also a translated book, and that's If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha. This is translated from Korean, and this is a type of story where we're following multiple perspectives. It's all these women who live in this building, and a lot of them are in their 20s, and there is one girl who's a room salon girl, and another girl is trying to become one as well. So there's a lot of talk about women's roles in society and how women are treated, and beauty expectations are a big part of this. You have also a woman who is pregnant, and she is like dealing with some things in her past and now being pregnant and like dealing with being a pregnant woman in Korean society. You have another character who she is unable to speak because there is an event that happened in her past that now she's no longer able to speak. She is like obsessed with K-pop and things like that, and especially this one person, and it's her story as well, and she's roommates with one of the girls. And then you're following another girl who is an artist, and she studied in the US for some time and then came back and is now in a relationship with this really rich guy. I thought it was really good. It's a great, again, like kind of slice of life. The chapters, like, because you're following multiple characters, the story never felt too long because you're kind of bouncing around from character to character, and they're all connected, but you get to kind of pop into each character's life and just see a glimpse of their life. So again, it gives that slice of life story, And the interesting thing about this is that it's dealing with a lot of really dark things and a lot of hard things about being a woman. And usually that's like a trigger for me, but it's never really like super dived into. Things are talked about, but they're just talked about like in this way where you don't get the deeper emotions of it. You just get glimpses of it. And I really actually liked that style because I feel like it made you able to see these things that are happening without going to like a super dark place. Everything just felt kind of bleak, and I thought that was a really interesting way to look at the story. So yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I think it would be a good summer read if you're again looking for like kind of a slice of life story. So those are my summer book recommendations. I hope you find some ones you really enjoy. If you have any recommendations, please leave them down below. I'd really appreciate it. Again, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time.